Welcome into Steelers Talk. I'm your host, Jack Sperry, and today we have Mel Kiper Jr., ESPN draft analyst. His list of the 10 Steelers draft targets in round one of the 2026 NFL draft from his latest 2026 big board. A really interesting video, one of my favorite videos to do during the season here, to kind of take a look here and take a sneak peek at some of the players that could be on the Steelers' radar in round one this year. Now, before we get into the content today, we do have a lot of draft content coming up here on Steelers Talk coming up in the offseason. We got in-depth prospect analysis for all these different types of players, positional rankings at every single position of need for the Steelers this upcoming spring. Also pre-draft visit trackers for the Combine, for the Senior Bowl, for pre-draft visits, all that different stuff. We'll let you guys know who the Steelers are meeting with and who they're being linked to. And then also we're going to have weekly 7-round mock drafts once the season finishes up here for the Pittsburgh Steelers. And all that draft content, guys, it's 100% free. So if you love the NFL draft and you love the Pittsburgh Steelers, Steelers Talk by Chat Sports is going to be the channel that you're going to want to be subscribed to, all right? So I really appreciate all of your guys' support. And before we get into Mel Kiper Jr.'s list here, I want to talk about Pittsburgh's potential needs in the first round of the 2026 NFL Draft. Now, obviously, the draft is in Pittsburgh, which is certainly fun, but right now I can see them drafting any of 6 positions. Now, obviously, this list is going to get curated and trimmed down as free agency and trades and all this stuff that happens before the draft happens over the next couple months. But right now, I could see quarterback being the pick. I could see a wide receiver being taken, offensive guard to replace Isaac Seumalo potentially, a defensive tackle to go alongside Derek Harmon and Y.A. Black for the future, cornerback, or potentially even an inside linebacker if there's a good enough one in this class that makes it to the Steelers pick. And right now, the Steelers' current draft position is 20th, all right? And if they're a one-and-done playoff exit this year, they'll probably sitting around that 20th ranking once again this year. That's where they've been the last several years. And if they really crap the bed, they might get into, the mid to even lower teens. But if they make the playoffs and if they win a playoff game especially, they're going to be rising, or should I say decreasing here, their draft positioning before we get to the draft in Pittsburgh next year. So what say you guys? Let me know down there in the comments section, what position of need should the Pittsburgh Steelers make the priority to take in round one of the NFL draft next year? Let me know down there in the comment section for today's pinned question. Just a second here, I'm going to tell you about our sponsor today at Harry's. And while I tell you about our sponsor, let me know which position the Steelers should prioritize in round one in Pittsburgh next spring. Now, before we get into the rest of today's show, let's have a word from our sponsor today at Harry's. And I don't have to tell you guys that maneuvering the men's razor space nowadays is really a nightmare, guys. The quality products are always super expensive, and the refills are also ridiculously expensive, and all of a sudden your bank account is just getting drained because you just want to have a barbershop quality shave. And then when you try and save a little bit of money, you get stuck with dull razors that irritate your skin, cut your skin even, and you can really only use them once. They don't last at all. That's exactly why I switched to Harry's Plus, and I haven't looked back since. Harry's Plus has an advanced pivoting system to reach every corner of your face, refined blade tech for a closer, smoother shave, and a weighted metal handle, which is Harry's heaviest handle ever for added control and comfort. But I think the best part about Harry's Plus is how affordable it is. Harry's owns their own world-class blade factory in Germany, which means no outsourcing and no middlemen. And because they control the entire process from steel to shelf, they keep costs low and pass the savings on to you. And even after all this innovation that they've put into this product, guys, Harry's Plus still costs less than Gillette Fusion. And to put a bow on it all, if you don't love your shave, Harry's is going to make it right with you. No questions asked. Their risk-free trial means there's zero downside to giving them a shot. And just to show you guys I actually use and love this product, I brought my Harry's Plus razor with me here to work to let you guys know that I've been using Harry's products ever since I was in college. And, as kind of a broke college guy, as most college kids are, I wanted a good shave, but I didn't want to break the bank to get one. So I switched to Harry's, and I haven't switched back since. I use all of their shaving products as well, not just the razors. I use their awesome shave gel. It smells terrific, as well as their post-shave balm, which also smells really, really good. And I can't recommend this company enough, and I can't be more excited to partner with Harry's this football season. So for a limited time only, our listeners can get the Harry's Plus trial set for only $10 at harrys.com/chat. This set includes the all-new Harry's Plus razor, one refined 5-blade cartridge, a 2-ounce foaming shave gel, and a travel cover to protect your blades on the go. Just head on over to harrys.com/chat to claim this offer, and after your purchase, they'll ask where you heard about them. Please support our show and tell them that we sent you. And a big thank you to Harry's for sponsoring today's edition of Steelers Talk. All right, we'll start our coverage here of Mel Kiper's round 1 draft targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers with his number 25 player on his big board, which is Mississippi State corner Kelley Jones. Mel says Jones can absolutely fly. I think he could end up in the 4.4 second range in the 40-yard dash in the lead up to the draft if he declares. But the third-year sophomore also brings terrific length, ball skills, and a feel for coverage. Jones seems comfortable with his back to the quarterback, is capable to locate the ball in the air, and is disruptive at the catch point. And Jones is also a willing tackler in run defense. And if the Steelers do decide to go with a corner, I do think Jones fits their kind of mold that they like on the outside. Then we get to defensive linemen out of Oregon. Hey, they took one last year with Derek Harmon. Could they go with a duck DT yet again here in Amari Washington, Mel's number 24 prospect in this year's class? Mel says this about the duck defensive tackle. Washington is putting it all together. He is powerful. He's quick and explosive. He's tough as nails. Teams are going to be interested in that combination, even if his game is still a little raw with no career starts before this season. Washington can clog up the middle against the run, and he can power through with his bull rush to get interior pressure. We saw such a sack in Oregon's Week 7 game against Indiana. He is very difficult to contain at the point of attack. Washington is still developing, and he could continue to rise up boards before April. Then we get to Avieon Terrell, the brother of A.J. Terrell of the Atlanta Falcons. Of course, when you have a brother in the NFL that's a great player, you're going to get a little bit of extra hype there. But Terrell from Clemson, Avieon is a legit player, guys. He's the number 21 player, I should say, on Mel's big board. This is what he has to say about the Clemson Tiger product. Terrell is a proven cover man, much like his brother. Avieon is consistent and reliable in man coverage. He can flip his hips, turn and run with the fastest wideouts, and still be able to locate the ball in the air to make the play at the right moment. He has 21 pass breakups over the past 2 seasons. Now, Terrell is going to get some knocks on his size coming in, but I think that he's a good cover guy. And in the modern day NFL, where size isn't necessarily as big of a factor, especially being in an off-cover kind of system, I think that Terrell would fit with any of those teams in the National Football League. The only problem with that is that the Steelers play more press and more bump and run coverage than most teams in the National Football League. Then we get to some wide receivers here. Denzel Boston is the first receiver talked about here by Mel Kiper Jr. on his list, the number 19 prospect on his big board. We talked about Boston yesterday on the show in a mock draft. That connects Boston to the Pittsburgh Steelers from Pro Football Focus. And this is what Mel Kiper Jr. has to say about the Washington Husky receiver. Boston has developed into a nuanced route runner who uses his size and physicality to shield defenders from the football. His length and catch radius make life miserable for opposing cornerbacks. And the way Boston quickly finds openings in coverage jumps out on tape, helping him to 14 yards per catch on the season. He has Velcro-esque hands, allowing him to go high or low to haul the difficult receptions. He's also 6'4", guys, so to pair him up with the 6'4" DK Metcalf here in Pittsburgh, I think would be a really good combination. But then we get to Vega here is what they call him at Penn State, the big offensive guard from the Nittany Lions. Probably one of the more tougher names to pronounce in the entire draft class here, so I'm just going to call him Vega here. But number 17 on Mel Kiper's big board, probably the best guard in the class, and could definitely be a first-round pick, especially because the Steelers may have a big need at starting left guard if they let Isaac Seumalo walk in free agency this year. Mel Kiper Jr. says Vega drives defensive tackles off the ball and sustains his blocks well. He can get to the second level and torque defenders out of the way, and he's incredibly agile at left guard for his size. Vega has 31 career starts and has given up only 2 sacks over that time, both in 2023. So that's definitely a player to keep your eye on here, and just to see if they bring back Isaac Seumalo next free agency. If they don't, certainly think this guy could be on the Steelers' radar with how much they value trenches in the first round under GM Omar Khan. But we're halfway there, guys. Like the video if you are enjoying today's show. If you guys want more draft content here on Steelers Talk, and you guys are enjoying this in-depth coverage that we have here today, make sure you guys click that thumbs up icon if you haven't already. Now we get into the top 5 round 1 draft targets from Mel Kiper Jr., and we get to Jermod McCoy, the number 16 prospect on Mel's big board right now, the DB out of Tennessee. Definitely the best cornerback in the class, in my opinion, and Mel explains why here. McCoy hasn't played yet in 2025 after suffering a torn ACL in January, but he still has the chance to be the first cornerback off the board in April. He began his college career at Oregon State, picking off 2 passes there in 2023. McCoy's ball-hawking traits really emerged once transferring to Tennessee, as he picked off 4 passes and broke up 9 last season. Even if he doesn't make it back onto the field this season, his on-the-ball production will get day one interest. And with guys like Derek Stingley and others at this position, obviously coming off of injuries and all this different stuff, and even off years, and then playing really well in the National Football League, I think McCoy's tape in 2024 speaks for itself, and he'll be a high draft pick. Then we get to Peter Woods, the Clemson Tiger defensive tackle. It's been falling down some big boards this year because of a lack of production with the Tigers this season. Obviously very physically talented and very versatile defensive lineman out of Clemson. This is what Mel has to say about Mr. Woods. Woods hasn't been elite in 2025, but the skill set is exactly what NFL teams covet. He just needs to finish strong over the second half of the season. In the pros, Woods would fit nicely at 3 technique, though he has the versatility to move around on a defensive front. He plays on the inside the majority of the time, but he also can be disruptive off the edge. His strength will intrigue a lot of NFL teams no matter where he lines up. Then we get to the only quarterback on the list today, which is Alabama's Ty Simpson. Now, I know you're going to say, Jack, Ty Simpson was terrible in the SEC championship game against Georgia, and he was. There are some rumors that he's dealing with a herniated disc in his back, which is obviously extremely painful and could be affecting his play. Not to make any excuses for the young man, but he is currently number 8 on Mel Kiper's big board, and he is still expected to be a first-round pick this year if he declares. This is what Mel has to say about the Bama product. His lack of experience might be a concern, as Simpson didn't start a game until this season, but the production is hard to ignore. Simpson knows the game and competes on every down. He's a battler who is always trying to make a play, sometimes to his detriment, and Simpson maneuvers well in the pocket and can beat defenses with his legs when the passing play isn't there. And in terms of Ty Simpson, guys, I would want medical checks on him to see exactly what happened with his back at the end of the season this year, to see just how serious that this apparent back injury is with him that he's playing through right now. But certainly somebody to keep your eye on, somebody that could be available for the Steelers to maybe trade up into the teens for if they want a quarterback in this year's draft. Then we get to some wide receivers here to finish out the list, starting with Makai Lemon. We talked about Makai on the show yesterday with Field Yates projecting Lemon to fall all the way to number 20 to the Pittsburgh Steelers in his latest mock draft. Mel Kiper Jr. has Lemon as the number 7 overall player in the class and says this kid is a warrior who plays with passion. I'd want Lemon on my roster. He snatches the ball away from his body in an attacking manner, then runs with a fierce approach after the catch. He is one of my favorite players in the class, and he currently ranks 3rd in the nation in receiving yards. Would absolutely love Makai Lemon paired up with DK Metcalf here in Pittsburgh. And then to finish out the list here, the number 1 Mel Kiper Jr. round 1 draft target for the Pittsburgh Steelers is Carnell Tate, the wide receiver out of Ohio State. Of course, he was former teammates there with Will Howard, the backup quarterback and maybe future starting quarterback for the Pittsburgh Steelers there with the Buckeyes in their national championship run. This is what Kiper has to say about Tate's game. Ohio State has turned into wide receiver U, with Emeka Egbuka being the most recent star wideout to come out of Columbus. And while most of the college football world focuses on Jeremiah Smith, who isn't eligible for the 2026 draft, Tate is putting up some serious numbers and showing why he is a top prospect for this class. Tate has produced big plays on a regular basis, averaging 18.2 yards per catch this season. He is a precise route runner, has great hands, and displays outstanding body control. And he'll also happily block for ball carriers, which NFL coaches, like Arthur Smith, by the way, love to see. Tate has a lower body injury and has missed time, but honestly, guys, I don't worry about that too much. His tape speaks for itself. I think Tate will end up being a top 10 draft pick this year. So just to recap here, when it comes to the round 1 draft targets, according to Mel Kiper when it comes to the Pittsburgh Steelers. Kelley Jones from Mississippi State, Amari Washington from Oregon, Avieon Terrell, the corner from Clemson, Denzel Boston out of Washington. Then you got Vega there out of Penn State, the big guard. Then you got Jermod McCoy out of Tennessee. Peter Woods, the defensive tackle from Clemson. Ty Simpson, the quarterback from Bama. Makai Lemon, the receiver out of USC. And then Carnell Tate, number 1 on Mel Kiper Jr.'s list for the Pittsburgh Steelers in round 1. Now, to keep you updated here on the quarterback situation and some potential trade-up targets for the Pittsburgh Steelers, they would have to really sell the farm to trade up where they're going to be drafting this year to go up and take Dante Moore or Fernando Mendoza. Mel ranks Dante number 1. He's had that for a while, and then he's had Mendoza at number 2. It certainly seems like if both of these guys declare they're going to be the first quarterbacks off the board, and they're going to go extremely early. So if the Steelers want to go get these guys, maybe they might be in position to go get them, depending on where they finish the NFL season this year. But they're definitely going to have to give up a first-round pick in 2027, maybe even another one in 2028 if they want any shot at going and getting one of these QBs. But who's your guy? Let me know down there in the comment section. Who do you want the Steelers to draft in round 1 of the NFL draft this year? And then whoever that is, tell me why down there in the comment section. Don't just tell me who you want. Tell me why down there in the comment section and give your reasoning for why you want that player to be a Pittsburgh Steeler. That's going to be it for today's edition of Steelers Draft News and Rumors. Appreciate you guys stopping by here today. Make sure you guys click that subscribe button if you haven't already. Until next time, guys, here we go, Steelers.